Hey there, Silver Recaps here. Watch out. This film portrays a future where technology has become so advanced that humanoid robots called companions have been created for humans. These robots can be friends, partners, and even emotional supporters. At the beginning of the story, we see a beautiful young woman named Iris. She meets a man named Josh at a store. The two exchange loving glances, and this moment marks the beginning of their love story. The scene then shifts, and Iris wakes up. It turns out she was dreaming about the first time she met Josh. Just then, Iris asks, "Where are we going? Why isn't this road on the GPS?" Josh replies, "We're heading to my friend Sarg's isolated lake house, where Kat, Patrick, and Ellie are already staying." However, Iris doesn't feel comfortable coming here, as she doesn't particularly like Kat. As soon as they reach the door, Kat welcomes them inside. Everyone gathers and greets each other. Just then, Sarg looks at Iris and says, "You must be Iris. I've heard a lot about you." Hearing this, Iris feels a bit uneasy because the way Sarg looks at her doesn't seem right. She then goes to her room to take a shower. Later in the evening, they all meet at the dinner table, where Patrick starts talking about how he and Ellie first met. That moment marked the beginning of their love story, and they've been together ever since. After dinner, everyone joins in for some dancing. During this time, Kat and Iris start talking. Kat reveals that she doesn't actually love Sarg. In fact, she's already married. She explains that they're just together for fun. Hearing this, Iris doesn't feel good about it and soon heads to bed. The next morning, after waking up, they plan to go to the lakeside. However, due to drinking too much the previous night, Josh has a hangover, so he tells Iris to go alone and spend some time there. Iris arrives at the lakeside by herself and takes in the beauty of the surroundings. That's when she suddenly feels something in her pocket. It's a knife. Just then, Sarg appears. Seeing Iris alone, he starts flirting with her. As Iris tries to leave, Sarg stops her and asks her to apply sunscreen on his back. Being a guest, Iris doesn't feel comfortable, refusing. But then, Sarg crosses the line and tries to force himself on her. Iris struggles to push him away, but when things get out of control, she pulls out the knife from her pocket and stabs him in the neck. Meanwhile, back at the house, the others are chatting when they notice Iris standing there, covered in blood, holding the knife. She then explains to everyone how Sarg tried to assault her, and she had no choice but to kill him. Everyone is left in shock. That's when Josh looks at her and says, "Go to sleep." Iris suddenly shuts down. That's when it's revealed. Iris isn't a human. She's a companion robot. Patrick immediately ties her tightly to a chair, and the group decides to call the police. However, Josh wants to say goodbye to her one last time. So he gives the command to wake her up and says, "You killed Sarg. That means I have no choice." But Iris insists she did it in self-defense. Josh sighs and replies, "I know you're not lying because you can't lie. It's not in your programming." Hearing this, Iris is stunned. For the first time, Iris realizes that she is not human but a companion robot. However, she still refuses to believe it because she has so many memories of her past. To make her believe, Josh changes the settings on his phone and starts controlling Iris. She suddenly begins speaking in different languages. Josh tells her, "Even our first meeting wasn't real. Those were fake memories that were pre-installed in your system." Iris asks, "Then how did we actually meet?" Josh then reveals the truth. "I bought you from M Ethics, the company that makes robots. They explained that to form an emotional connection with a new robot, a love link needs to be created. Once that happens, the machine emotionally bonds with its owner. And through my phone, I can not only control you, but also customize you." But Iris is not ready to accept that she is just a machine. She feels emotions just like a human, happiness and sadness. That's why she doesn't want the police to arrest her. Just then, Kat walks in and starts talking to Josh. During this moment, Iris notices a knife lying nearby. Before Josh can return, she moves her chair closer to the knife and frees her hands. Just then, Josh sees Iris lying there and tries to shut her down, but Iris punches him in the neck, injuring him, and grabs his phone, the device he used to control her. She then runs into the woods. Josh and Kat immediately tell Ellie everything and include her in their plan. After that, they open Sarg's safe, which contains $12 million. In reality, killing Sarg was their plan all along. Their goal was to steal all his money, but they didn't want to take the blame for his murder. So they made sure Iris was the one to do it. Earlier, when Iris went to the lakeside, Josh had secretly slipped a knife into her pocket. At the same time, he increased her aggression and self-defense mode. However, later, he forgot to turn it back down. Because of this, Iris was able to escape. They knew that Sarg was a Russian drug dealer, so no one would suspect them. At this point, Kat suggests they split the $12 million among themselves. But Ellie insists that her boyfriend Patrick should also get a share. Josh refuses, revealing that Patrick isn't even human. He's a companion robot, just like Iris. Meanwhile, Iris is shown disabling the voice command option on the phone. By doing this, Josh can no longer shut her down. She also increases her intelligence to 100%, whereas Josh had originally set it to 40%. Now Iris is smarter than ever. She quickly comes up with a plan. She will return to the lakehouse. Josh's car is still there, and it can also be controlled using this phone. If she gets to it, she can escape from here easily. Josh and his group enter the woods to search for Iris. Seeing them, Iris starts running, but Ellie tries to catch her and both of them slip, tumbling down into a ravine. A struggle breaks out between them, and suddenly, a gunshot is fired. Ellie is killed. Iris immediately runs toward the lake house and gets into Josh's car. Josh chases after her and tries to shut her down using a voice command, but Iris had already disabled the voice command feature. Josh then grabs a rock and tries to break the car's window. However, Iris quickly starts the self-driving mode using the phone and speeds away. Before she can get too far, the car suddenly stops. Josh had already reported the vehicle as stolen, causing it to lock down with Iris trapped inside. Josh then calls her and says, "Come back home. We won't turn you into the police." But Iris refuses and says, "Josh, you programmed me to kill Sarg. That means our paths are no longer the same." With that, she hangs up the phone. Meanwhile, Josh returns to the forest where Patrick is mourning Ellie's death. Josh resets Patrick and creates a love link with him. Now, the robot is under Josh's control. Josh commands him to track down Iris and capture her. He also increases Patrick's aggression level to 100%, making him extremely dangerous. Meanwhile, Iris is seen trying to break the car window to escape. Just then, a police officer passes by and sees her doing this. As Iris steps out of the car, the officer starts questioning her, but Iris cleverly switches her language and begins speaking in German, a language the officer doesn't understand. She does this to avoid lying, as she isn't programmed to lie. However, the officer notices the knife inside the car and becomes suspicious. He then decides to arrest Iris. Just then, Patrick arrives and attacks the officer, beating him to death. Iris tries to escape, but Patrick uses the phone to shut her down. He then takes the police car and drives back to the lake house, where Josh and Kat are waiting for him. But as he arrives, they are shocked to see that Patrick has also killed a police officer. They are shocked. Disturbed by everything, Kat packs half of her share of the money into a bag and decides to leave. Josh tries to stop her. Kat says, "Josh, get out of my way. I'm not a robot who follows your commands." Hearing this, Josh orders Patrick to stop her, but instead of just stopping her, Patrick attacks Kat with a knife. Kat collapses in the same spot where Iris was tied up. Taking her final breaths, she bids farewell to this world. After that, Josh and Patrick dispose of the bodies. Then, we see Josh sitting at a dining table with Iris, while Patrick prepares food. Josh then gives a command, reactivating Iris. She wakes up with one of her hands still tied to the chair. Josh blames her, saying, "Because of you, so many people have died." Iris responds, "No, this was your plan. You wanted to steal Sarg's money. Your greed is what caused all these deaths." Josh gets furious. To punish her, he reduces her intelligence level to 0. Iris immediately switches to automation mode. Josh then decides to take complete control of Iris. He commands her to place her hand over a candle. As the warmth touches her synthetic skin, she experiences discomfort. But with her intelligence level reduced, she is unable to react. Just then, Patrick hands her a device. Josh gives the command, "Follow my order." Iris doesn't want to comply, but she is unable to resist the command. As the device activates, her system powers down. Josh calls M Ethics and informs them that Iris has deactivated on her own. Soon after, 2 company workers, Sid and Teddy, arrive at the location. When they get there, they see that a police officer is already present. But in reality, that officer isn't real. It's Patrick, wearing the uniform of the previous officer. Josh then creates a false story in front of the workers, pretending to be heartbroken over Iris. The workers inspect Iris and reveal that her Wi-Fi antenna is damaged. However, her memory is still intact, and they plan to send it to the lab for analysis to figure out what happened. Hearing this, Josh starts to worry. If Iris reaches the lab, the truth will come out. To stop this, he orders Patrick to stop both workers. As the workers start to leave, Patrick intervenes. Teddy is stopped immediately, but Sid manages to escape into the forest. Patrick chases after him and catches him. However, he runs out of options. So, he tries to restrain Sid. Meanwhile, we see Iris. Her reboot process is complete and she is now fully functional again. Before Patrick can stop Sid, Iris arrives and tries to redirect him using an electric pod. Since she has just been rebooted, she is unable to take direct action. Instead, she tells Patrick the truth. She says, "Josh doesn't care about you. He's just using you, just like he used me." She reminds Patrick about Ellie, his true companion. Hearing this, Patrick's old memories start returning. He feels overwhelmed by the realization of what has happened. Lost in thought, Patrick makes a final decision and powers himself down using the electric pod. However, Sid remains safe. He modifies Iris's settings, giving her full control over herself. Now, completely free, Iris returns to Josh, who is preparing to leave. The moment he sees her, he tries to shut her down, but Iris is now fully independent, no longer controlled by any phone or human. Yet deep in her memories, she still has feelings for Josh. Josh takes advantage of this weakness, emotionally influencing her before suddenly taking action. He puts her in a difficult situation, taking control of the moment. But this time, Josh doesn't want to take any risks. He aims for her core, the place where all her memories are stored, intending to erase them forever. Just as he initiates his move, Iris reacts first. She grabs a champagne corkscrew and stops him. Josh loses consciousness instantly. Even though she knows it had to happen, she still feels a deep sense of sadness. The next morning, Iris carefully removes the synthetic layer from her hand, revealing the metallic structure beneath. This is her truth, but now she no longer wants to hide it. She packs the money into a bag and walks away. On the road, she encounters a man traveling with his companion partner. As she looks at the robotic woman, Iris smiles and gently raises her mechanical hand. The woman stares at her, slightly confused. And with that, the movie comes to an end.